Regular monthly board meeting of the Lake City Development Corporation. It is June 18, 2013. Welcome, everybody. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, so let's please rise for that. And Brad, since you made such a great entrance, start us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, this is next order of business is first opportunity for public comment. If we have any member of the public out there who would like to make any comment, okay, welcome. We have a couple people out in the audience. Okay, how about let's do approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes to approve, and that would be for the last month's board meeting. So, Chair would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Are any comments or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Committee reports. Finance Committee. Tony, Rod's gone, so I presume you're going to fill in his place?
I am going to try to fill in for Commissioner Caldwell. Anybody need a copy of the
Financials?
Digital. A lot of copies.
I've got set too.
I think we're okay. I'll just kind of go through the financials. Start off with the Lake District on the balance sheet. The Lake District experienced a $340,894 decrease in cash assets from April month end. That's primarily due to the large payment we made to CNI for the McEwen 2013 project totaling $899,741. Otherwise, on the balance sheet, there really are no other significant changes other than we did see an interest earnings of $144 on our Washington Trust Bank bond reserve account. On liabilities and fund balances, the mortgages and notes payable line item increased $483,379 over the April value. This reflects a normal month of debt obligation payments totaling $16,621. This is combined with a draw on the bond offset of $500,000. So we drew another $500,000 on our Washington Trust Lake District bond last month.
What's our total draw on that now?
Total draw, if I have that on this one page here, 1.938 million.
Okay, thanks.
All the other liability parameters are either unchanged or normal for the month, including a 2% credit to the arts for the May County increment check. Switching to the Lake District P&L, the Lake District received $89,520 in tax increment revenue from the county in May. The biggest line item you'll see from an expenditure standpoint on the Lake District P&L is the McEwen Park line item, which shows that CNI invoice payment of $899,741. The repair and maintenance line item is a bit higher for the month of May due to some safety-related repair work we had to do on the Young Avenue triplex, which is just across the parking lot here behind City Hall. We had to put some new railings and stairs on that building. The communication line item includes 50% of the final video payment to Range, so we have that debt obligation satisfied. Any questions on the Lake District financial statements?
While you brought it up, Tony, you mentioned Young Avenue. Did we ever decide what we're doing on the houses down along what's that street by the Fort Grounds?
Park Drive.
Yeah, are we still analyzing that?
I think the issue is to let the Four Corners study process that's been reinvigorated kind of revisit that question, get some more input on it.
Yeah, I was referring to where we had a couple we were debating whether it was worth abating them or.
Yeah, those
I'm
three.
sorry, yeah.
When you talked about the repairs on Young Avenue, that jogged my memory.
Right. Working with the Finance Committee, I'm putting together the next fiscal year's budget, and in that budget that I'll bring forward to you guys next month, we have a recommendation of removing 3 of those houses in the center of the block. It'd be 618, 620, and 622 Park for consideration for the board.
Okay, thank you.
No, the plan's not to evict anybody, it's just as natural turnover occurs.
Those are all month-to-month tenancies, so as they wander away, we can take care of that next fiscal year, I think.
Okay, thanks. I just, when we were talking about repairs, it just kind of jogged my memory to see what was going on with those. Thank you.
Switching to the River District on the balance sheet, the River District experienced a $22,346 increase in cash assets from April month end. Fairly quiet month in the River District once again. No other real changes on the balance sheet for the River District. And on the P&L for the River District, it shows that we received $31,645 in tax increment revenue from the county in May. And the expenditures that you see pretty much represent 50% cost share for the items that have been incurred in the Lake District. So as you recall, we split the operational costs that run the agency 50-50 between both districts. Switching to the payables, I'll share those with you for the month. The first item you'll see is a payment to Holly Troxel Law Firm for the services of Ms. Quaid and her team, totaling $1,717.50. $1,056 of that was for our general counsel and legislative issues, and $661.50 of that total was for work on IRAs that we'll discuss here shortly, and the IHA Midtown documents in the Midtown area. The next item you'll see is the final payment to Molitor & Associates for her current contract, government relations contract for the month of May, totaling $2,022.45. The next item is Keith Erickson Consulting for the month, for the time frame of late May through early June, totaling $1,400. The next item is the agreed-to payment that the board approved last month for the Coeur d'Alene 2030 Visioning Initiative. It's $15,000 that will be paid to the Coeur d'Alene Chamber of Commerce, who is kind of taking the lead role in this whole initiative. That's where all the funds will be sent to.
They're the fiscal agent.
They're the fiscal agent, yes. Then the large items on the payables are for the McEwen Park project. CNI, third invoice totals $1,618,142. And T. McEwen has submitted 2 invoices for their A&E design and management, project management contracts, totaling $187,983. So those 2 items combined for McEwen Park Initiative total $1,806,125. So when you add everything up, the total payables in front of the board this month are $1,826,264.95.
Questions of Tony on the payables?
Mr. Chair, I move we accept the finance reports for both the Lake and the River Districts as presented, and also approve the payables as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second to accept the financials and approve the payables. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item under the Finance Committee, Mr. Chairman, is 2 improvement reimbursement agreement approvals. I've shared these with all the board members. Basically, I'll just to recap for the viewing audience, the first one is the Mill River Seniors Improvement Reimbursement Agreement, which we call IRAs. This was approved, the terms of this document were approved last month by the board. And just some of the major parameters of the $326,000 IRA agreement. This is a reimbursement agreement to the developer for public improvements already installed. The note parameters include an interest rate of 3.75%, with interest beginning to accrue on May 8th, 2013. An interest payment cap on the IRA note of $97,800, which is 30% of the approved reimbursement amount. Annual art retention of 2% and an annual LCDC retention of 25% to help us run the business in that district. So I would look to a motion to that effect, approving this IRA document for the Mill River Seniors Project and authorizing Commissioner Patzer to sign on behalf of the LCDC board, since Commissioner Davis, I assume, still has a potential conflict.
Correct. I will recuse myself on this one, and also on the Riverstone West Apartments. Our firm does some work for the developer, unrelated to both of these projects, but nonetheless, I've elected to recuse myself. So, Dave, if you could take that motion for me.
I will do that. What I'd like to ask of Tony before, just kind of a question of parallel here, do we have any idea what the assessed valuation of the seniors project is at?
I do. It'll take me a few minutes to bring that up, but bear with me.
Take a whole bunch of. I was just curious as to, what, maybe a guess as to what the expected payoff of that IRA will be. I don't think it'll be probably that long.
It might take a while,
Well,
but let me, before I say that, let me see if I can pull these up here.
Well,
while he's doing
while
that.
Tony's doing that, just by way of general information that I just happen to have on how those are assessed, they are a combination of typically of market units and some tax credit. So there's some
Adjustments made.
adjusted rental rates. So because of that, I think there is some provision to have the assessment of that reflect the rental income limitations of those types of properties. So they tend to be a little less than a full market assessment.
The current valuation that the county has on the Mill River Seniors Project as of June of this year, and this is before Board of Equalization happens, is $2,070,000.
Okay. Well, over $2 million then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, operating in Mr. Davis's behalf here, any further discussion on this?
Move to approve.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the next item would be a similar conversation regarding the Riverstone West Apartments Project Improvement Reimbursement Agreement. This is a very similar document, a few different metrics. This is a reimbursement agreement for $395,000 for already installed public improvements that have been board approved and accepted by the city. And I should have said the same thing for the Mill River. All these have been approved by the city and accepted. The parameters are the same, 3.75% interest rate beginning on May 8th, 2013. This one has an interest payment cap of $118,500, which is still 30% of the note amount. Annual retention of 2% of funds for art, and an annual LCDC retention of 25% to help run the business. So it would be a similar request for a motion to approve this document in this associated promissory note with Commissioner Patzer signing on behalf of the LCDC.
Okay, comments or questions about the Riverstone West Apartment project? And just for the board's information, I think it was last cycle as far as we go through. I did take a look at the binders that Larry Comer had put together as his arm's length third-party verification of all the expenses associated with both the seniors project and Riverstone West. And so from what I could see, it looked like it was legit. Okay, any questions?
Move to approve the Riverstone West Apartment.
Okay, it's been
project.
moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? None hearing passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
A couple more items under Commissioner Caldwell's report, and let me just catch up with you folks for a second here.
appreciate the fact that you have to make the report and record the minutes at the
That's
same
okay.
time, Tony.
That's okay. That's okay.
Thanks for,
The next item under the Finance Committee report is just an update on the NIC Sports Complex Center, the request by NIC to the LCDC to be a major partner in that proposed initiative. As you recall, the NIC request is for $10 million in partnership funding. The Finance Committee is continuing their due diligence and working through the modeling and the financials, and they plan to come to the full board with a funding recommendation next month at the July board meeting. We should have everything completed by then. The Finance Committee also asked me to work with a third-party financial consultant to, as we did with the McEwen project, to look at our modeling and make sure that from a third party's standpoint, that they also agree that the River District has basically the horsepower, the economic horsepower, to potentially go out for a $10 million bond placement with usually, most likely a local lending institution, just like we did with the Lake District. So I've begun that contact and conversation, and I will move that forward as it matures. So that's kind of where we stand. Finance Committee, did I miss anything?
McEwen
No.
Park update?
I mean on the
on
North
the-
Idaho College.
I was just going to say, we thought it was prudent to do that as we kind of move parallel along. Realize we haven't given total blessing on this project yet, but we thought we need to know, we can't commit to something if we can't borrow. So we thought we needed to know at least that bit of information before we sit down to seriously discuss this, so.
Scott? Dean?
Obviously, that only comes to pass if the NIC is able to do their share of the fundraising. And
Yes, you'll see in the, you maybe have seen a draft of the sort of draft conditions that is addressed. We're going to ask them to spend their money first.
I think that needs to be very clear.
I was just going to ask, I think you're on a subcommittee with NIC to look at how it's going there?
Yes, I'm on the main committee, and I'm
On
on
that?
two subcommittees. The main committee met this morning. We try to meet every 3 weeks. And just to refresh everybody's memory, the plan is for this committee to report back out to the NIC trustees on basically our findings at the end of August, at their August trustee meeting, so that they will, if they choose, be able to make a decision in September or at their earliest convenience. So that committee is progressing well. The 4 subcommittees are kind of a site location and a building construction. There's kind of a communication subcommittee, maintenance and operations subcommittee looking at the cost of running and owning this facility, as well as the 4th one is a fundraising committee. That's been charged to rationalize and put together a fundraising model for the $5 million plus that's needed to be raised from the private sector as per the plan. So as it breaks down, the NIC would be looking to LCDC for $10 million, and then they would fundraise for the other $5 million to come up with the $15 million that's expected needed for this development, which would include land acquisition costs.
Deanna?
And they are aware that this would have to be in the River District.
Correct. That's very much the understanding that the parcel needs to be located in the River District.
Very good.
Other questions of Tony on the NIC Sports Complex project?
So like I said, Finance Committee will work to bring that recommendation to the full board at the July board meeting.
Mm-hmm. And I think Deanna covered it, but for the public clarification, it is only contingent.
Yeah, this would be a soft, how do we frame it, a soft commitment?
So sort of a
Conditional commitment.
sentiment of the board with some, some parameters of
If
under which
funds
we
are
might
released.
consider a formal request.
Yeah, perfect. I just thought we needed to clarify
That's good.
that.
And then if the, following the August report out of the committee, if the NIC trustees really want to move forward with this in September, they would come back to the board for a full-fledged presentation and formal commitment on our participation.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No other questions. I'll move on to the final item under finance. Is just a McEwen Park initiative update. Regardless of what you see outside right now with a nice steady rain, the project is moving along well. There's no major obstacles in the way right now. I mean, we have a few minor issues here and there, but as typical of a project of this size and magnitude, not unexpected, and everybody is dealing with them well. I meet weekly with the contractors and Team McEwen and the city leadership to kind of review the project. And I also meet with city leadership and Welch County engineers to review all of the potential change order requests coming down the line, as well as potential other changes to the project. So I've been working closely with the teams. We seem to be on track. And their main goal this week is to get a temporary road through the construction site for Ironman, and that is a challenge right now. So they're getting that done. They need to have that done by Thursday night. Weather is not helping them greatly right now, but I'm sure they will get it done.
Does cut down on the dust.
It does cut down the dust.
Questions of Tony on McEwen? Okay, Tony, appreciate your engaging in all those meetings for us. I know that with Higher Ed Corridor, we had Scott going to a number of those meetings. Are you comfortable handling that on your own at this point?
We're fine, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Holler if you need help.
I will.
Definitely. All
Do you
right.
have to sit by yourself at those meetings, or do they embrace you still?
I'm well embraced.
Okay. That's always good.
Anything else on finance?
No, sir.
So you're pretty much the show here.
I am the
except
show.
for-
I'm up next again on the housing
Housing.
committee. Just wanted to share with you that as a follow-up, the housing company and the Idaho Housing and Finance Association are kind of moving forward with a little bit of a revised model, mixed-use model in Midtown for the project. Still be a mixed-use building, office, retail, on the floor level, but they're looking at more of an urban type of product now, where they would keep the same amount of units as proposed, but they would make them smaller. Some studios, some one-bedrooms, to make it more of a urban type of a product that would fit more into the Midtown area. They really weren't over excited about a potential seniors project there, but they think this urban type of project with smaller units would work well with Midtown. And I know Commissioner Goodlander has met with some stakeholders in Midtown, and they seem to be receptive of some new thinking and willing to continue the conversation. And if you'd like to share any other thoughts.
I think we had a good, positive meeting, and I think that we can continue to work with stakeholders, and it's going to be a good direction for us to go with the housing company. So we're just kind of doing some development plans right now. We're working on another meeting coming up sometime next month. So when we got something to talk about, we'll have another meeting and visit some more.
And so the housing companies has Miller Stauffer engaged in some new design drawings. Is that what's going on?
And Tony knows more about that than I do, but
That's my understanding.
Okay.
they're working on design drawings right now. So
Great. Yeah, it seemed like a little glimmer of optimism there.
yeah, I felt very encouraged.
Was this something that the Midtown folks took the initiative on, or was it contact with the housing company that did it, or
It
where
was
did
more the
synergy
lead on
come
the
from?
housing company and IHFA.
Okay.
After the feedback they got from the last
Yeah.
engagement with the Midtown stakeholders, they went back to the drawing board and tried to figure out what might still be able to work up. There still would be an affordable product, but there might be more market rate in this, but there still would be that model, that funding model in place.
With retail on the ground floor.
Yeah, retail or office,
Yeah.
commercial.
Okay. Well, great.
That's all I have for
That it?
housing.
Okay.
I can move to parking.
Parking?
The update on parking is that the Downtown Association, in partnership with the city, now has a free shuttle service that runs daily from 9:30 to 6:30, Monday through Saturday, and 11 to 5 p.m. on Sundays. That is shuttling people from the new parking lots down around Memorial Field, the temporary parking lots down around Memorial Field, along Lakeside, down to this parking lot by City Hall, and then back that same way. And so they're running constantly. Not a great deal of ridership right now. I think there was on the weekend of Carter Lane, but like today and yesterday, kind of sparse ridership because the throngs of people have yet to show up for our summer season. But they will be here this weekend as Ironman moves in, and that shuttle will probably be heavily used. So that is in place and will be in place through September 1st.
I have seen the shuttle. It's got a fancy new wrap on it. Looks pretty snazzy. I was tempted to get on and ride it.
By all means, please feel free to.
If people wanted to access, what time the pickup is here at City Hall's lot, how would they do that? I know that's kind of fluid.
I think it runs every 15 or 20 minutes, so it's almost kind of.
So you're only going to wait 15, 20 minutes max wherever you try to board, okay.
I think they have 2 stops on Lakeside, and this stop here at City Hall are the 3 stops, other than Memorial Field pickup. So.
And they pick them up, isn't the old chicken shack across from Paul Bunyan's the pickup, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's where the handicap parking is.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think the pickup for City Hall is down in the lower part, not the furthermost parking lot, but
I'm not sure.
it's in the parking lot. It isn't at City Hall. I followed it in the other day.
Okay.
So they just pull into the parking lot on
To the upper level?
the upper level.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, on parking.
Want me to spell you a little bit, Tony?
Thank you for that. Mr. Patzer, Communications.
Thank you. Keith, would you join us up here, please? While he's coming up here, he's going to give us updates on both our tile ads, kind of what's going on with the new Coeur d'Alene Press ad on their online website, also this month's newsletter, and a couple of other things, our videos. So go ahead, Keith.
Thank you, Dave. I
You bet.
appreciate it. Keith Erickson, LCDC Communications. Start off with saying that our June newsletter, in a timely fashion, I think deployed today. Hopefully most of you guys got it if you're on the list. And speaking of the list, the membership continues to grow. We're pushing 500-600 viewers now, or recipients of that. So it's encouraging to see a lot more people getting the newsletter, but even more importantly, that Therese shared with me today that our open rate, because we all get bombarded with so many emails on a daily basis and so many people vying for our attention, we actually, on our LCDC newsletter, have an open rate of hovering around 50%, which is really good. You'd think only half people open it, and they'd think, well, that's not that good, but it really is. Usually it's about 20%. It's the industry average. So our readership continues to grow, and the people looking at it and responding to it and are interested in it are, it's a promising thing. And just to recap for the audience, what they will see if they see our newsletter, we're looking at, we took a look at Riverstone. There's a lot of stuff going on at Riverstone right now that we had mentioned earlier. There's a lot of growth. There was some stagnancy for a while, but now there is some new growth, some development, some new businesses, a lot of activity going on there. So I talked with Mr. Stone, and we kind of shed some light on what is so positive right now about Riverstone. The newsletter also updates McEwen, which I think is an important thing. The city is doing a good job as far as updating the community on the impact of the river or the McEwen Field upgrade and what it means for parking and this type of a thing. So the newsletter also touches upon what is being done to accommodate parking. We have a shuttle service available, that being the city. There's some satellite services, so there's some good information there. Also, I got together with our Parking Commission chairperson, guy by the name of Randy Teal, very informative, very enthusiastic, and he wants nothing more, like we all do, to make parking as convenient as possible during the summer months, during this construction. So he's got some great information, which I also share in the newsletter. And then I look ahead to July's newsletter that we're going to look into some exciting things, and you'll have to tune in to see that. I won't tease that now. Also, we, as hopefully most of our viewers know, and I know the board knows, that we recently participated in production of a video to explain to the public in a short, concise, informative manner what the Lcdc does and how we do it, how we get the increment financing and what it does, and with some really, to me, compelling information about what the Lcdc does. And this video so far, these are preliminary figures. First of all, let me say that the video is available at lcdc.org, and you also, if you get the newsletter, there's a link to it there, and we're trying to make it as available as we possibly can to everyone. So it's very available. There are two versions, a 7-minute version, which is a little more comprehensive with interviews of people who have benefited from it, why it's good, what it does, and then a shorter version, which is 3 minutes. And to date, we have, and these are really preliminary figures, we have about 400 people who have viewed it. But what we don't have, the 400 people that we have viewed it so far are going to youtube.com. And the viewing public, if you go to youtube.com and put lcdc.org, you can find the video. Now, if you go to lcdc.org, not to give too many acronyms here, but you can also find it there. So you can find it either place, but the statistics I have right now are just through YouTube. So although I say we have 400 views so far, I think the number is way higher than that because we don't have the analytics yet on who has gone to our website and seen it. But the bottom line is it's a short, brief video with great scenery, great detail, layman's terms on what the Lcdc does, and I think it was a really great project. So I really encourage anyone, and even for the board members, if you haven't seen it, check it out again. Eden and her team did a good job. As far as our media outreach, we continue to use the Huckleberry's website, and which continues to garner hundreds of thousands of impressions, meaning people that see Lcdc, and then the click-throughs, the people that see the Lcdc and then go the extra step and actually click onto our link that takes us to the McEwen Field and our website. The numbers are good there, too. What we've done is take it a step further. Mr. Patzer and I and Tony, Mr. Burns and I have worked on thinking, well, maybe we should outreach to the Coeur d'Alene Press. So we've done that as well, and these are really early numbers with the Coeur d'Alene Press. So number one, you can see us on Huckleberries, and you can always also see us now on the Coeur d'Alene Press's website. And so far, we've had 16,500 impressions on the Coeur d'Alene Press's website, and of those, the click rate has not been as great as it has been on the Spokesman. We've had approximately 68 clicks, which is at 0.03%, which really in the realm of things is about media average. We've really been successful with the Spokesman, not so far yet with the press. So we'll continue. We kind of put 3 months into it, and we'll see what it does. It's a different readership. A different group of people that tend to follow that website, if you know. So,
and keep in mind that's just since the 1st of June.
Exactly.
So
this is
2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
June 3rd through 12th.
Yeah, so that's 9 days.
Right. Exactly, Dave. So, but it's the outreach. I mean, spreading the word at a relatively nominal rate is good. We have new McEwen signs. I don't know if you saw that the McEwen signs are going up that has the QR code. So people that go walk by, if you're like me, I'm going by there every day and looking at the excitement and all the development going on.
Where exactly, Keith, are these
They
going to
are
be located?
they're going to be, and actually they're not there yet. There's temporary signs, but if you on Front Street or Front Avenue, beyond the blockade, they're going to be at 4th,
5th, and 6th, and depending on funding, that might be at 3rd too. So we'll at least have 3 locations. And it's a beautiful map. It shows the whole McEwen Park thing with numbers saying, here's where the Harbor House is going to go, and here's where everything else.
What about the trail at the base of the hill, something permanent
The
like
South
that?
Trail?
Yeah, either here or over by the west entrance to Tubbs Hill.
Good point. Right now, I've been working with Doug Eastwood on that, and he hasn't said anything about a sign there. But I can speak from experience that gets a lot of traffic. So I think that would be a good one, right at the base, by the Moose.
Yeah, we might visit with Doug and see maybe if one of those signs could be located somewhere along that trail that people coming on and off the hill would be able to sit there and have that rendition of what it's going to look like in the location.
You know, I completely agree, because the traffic there is a lot heavier than you see on Front Street.
Yeah, their user group too,
Yeah.
so.
I've been there too. Okay, so I'll work with Doug on that.
Okay.
And then something I brought up at the last couple of meetings is the web updates. You know, in the last 13 months since I've been with the board, there have been a lot of changes, updates, upgrades, great things going on. And the website, the Lcdc.org website, is not necessarily completely up to date. So still working with Therese on new content and new photos. I think the public obviously needs and wants to know what's going on. So Therese and I talked today. She's got content. Mr. Burns has looked at that content, and it's just basically given a fresh look at everything that's going on within our river and lake districts. And so that should be up on the website soon. We're going to do it in increments, meaning, we'll take the big projects first. We'll do the Croc Center. We'll do Riverstone, some of the projects we've highlighted, the library and everything else, and continue to update that to keep it current. If you don't keep it current, people tend to lose interest. So we need to keep people connected. So a lot of exciting things going on. Love the fact that our numbers are going up. The connection, so things are good, and I'd welcome any questions.
Al?
I just got a question on who's going to respell my name on the website. It's wrong.
Oh my goodness. Is it your first name? I hope they didn't spell
Last
Al
name.
wrong. Huh?
Last name.
I need an extra L on the last name.
Who did that? Well, I can take care of that for sure.
I saw it today when I looked at it. Again.
That's funny. Okay. Well, yeah. Definitely I would take care of
See
it.
what happens when you're absent for a while?
Just disappear for a
We
couple
forget.
months.
Sorry about that, Al.
Yeah. Sorry. That will be corrected.
Keith, I want to say that I've looked at, I've been watching our newsletter, and, I get a few others. We get some others from some other cities around that have started sending us those as well, and ours stands up really very well. It's very professionally done, and I'm very pleased with the way it looks. It's readable, it's user-friendly. I think it's a good source of information, so.
One thing our website does too, of course, is we've got a video of previous meetings. We're starting to catalog and build a library of those. Do we have any idea, Keith, that those are getting viewed and how much we are being clicked on for those type of resource references? Do we have an idea on any of that yet?
Not being a technological person, it's something that I personally would like to know, so I can work with Therese, and I think she's viewing now, to find out what that's called is Google Analytics.
Okay.
And so there is a way to find out, and I think that I entirely agree that you need to find out, how much it's being viewed and to what extent people are watching it to see. So.
Well, Tony's going to brief us here in a minute of a meeting he's going to fly down to and attend to tomorrow, but people are going to be asking him certain questions, probably not only about our video, but also about some of the other things we're trying as our outreach for communications goes on. So, I don't know if that's something you can have for him by 1 o'clock tomorrow, but, that's interesting information to have as to how we are doing our outreach and who is utilizing and accessing these attempts we're making at being transparent out there.
Completely agree. I tend to work fast when it's information Tony wants. So, yeah. Actually, I think that I can work with Therese to get that. It's all about Google Analytics, which maybe somebody like other people in the world know more than I do. But the information is out there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I will look into that and see what I can get to Tony. But overall, things are looking good in the communications front, and I'm pleased with the newsletter outreach, with the website, with everything that's going on.
Again, we're always open to suggestions on if your name is spelled incorrectly or you want to embellish a story a little bit, let us know, and we certainly can make the attempts to honor those requests.
And with that said, I would encourage the board anytime to call me. They know, or Tony knows for sure how accessible I am through email or through my cell phone number, or even the community and the public. So what we're trying to do is spread the word and in a factual basis, not with spin, just with facts.
Okay, thanks, Keith.
You bet.
Thank you, Keith.
That's all we have.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, Executive Director's report, right back at you, Tony.
That's okay. Just kind of going off Mr. Patrick's lead-in, I just wanted to share with the board that I've been invited down to the Association of Idaho Cities meeting tomorrow to present one of their breakout sessions about our communication strategy. The Redevelopment Association of Idaho, the RAI leadership, has been very impressed with our newsletter, our video, and our website, and they wanted us to come down and share that with the other urban renewal agencies as well as the cities about possibly benchmarking off some of the communication strategies that we have. So it's a big testament to this group and to Keith and Teresa's efforts that they want to see how we're doing, what we're doing and how we've done it and how we came up with the strategy to employ and deploy that. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, and we'll show them the video. I've been assured that the technology in this room is all geared up to access the website, and we'll look at Blog Thailand, we'll watch the video, we'll look at the website, and we'll have a good conversation. So, any questions on that? If not, the next item under my report, Mr. Chairman, is the contract renewal for Molitor and Associates Government Relations contract. This is the government relations contract with Teresa Molitor. This would be, as I shared with you via email, for one more calendar year, which, if the board agrees tonight, the contract will start June 19th, 2013, and would run through June 1st, 2014. And that would be for a year. The terms of the contract renewal are the same. It would still be $20,000, paid $2,000 a month for 10 months during that 12-month time frame. And the services that Molitor and Associates would provide include monitoring legislative activities both during the legislative session and in the interim, lobbying elected members of the legislature on matters of interest to the Lcdc, providing testimony before appropriate committees of the Idaho legislature as directed by Lcdc, participating in meetings on strategy for support or opposition of legislation referenced above, and all other activities normally expected of a government relations consultant. And I would bring that forward with a recommendation to once again engage Ms. Molitor on the government relations front.
Okay, is there any discussion or questions? This is an action item. We would need to have a motion to approve that. So, Scott.
Mr. Chairman, a year ago when we were talking about this, we were the RAI group was
Redevelopment
going to
Association
ramp
of
up,
Idaho.
and then we would instead put our money there for our lobbyists and our governmental relations. Are they geared up to do that yet, or?
We, the short answer is not yet.
Okay.
And Tony and I have sort of vetted that. He talked with a counterpart down at Capital City Development Corporation. Probably the other organization that would have to buy off on that kind of a program to be able to shift resources. Right now, I think the RAI is still trying to build membership, and their due structure is very low. So getting enough financial resources to hire a separate governmental relations consultant for that association probably is a real challenge at this point. Hopefully in the future it won't be, because I think that's my objective as well, is to get us to that point where we can do that as a unified group and save everybody some costs.
Well, I think it's important to have a voice down there, and then a joint voice would even be stronger. So
it is one of the I mean, back from my days in a prior life being down there as a legislator, government relations, or call them lobbyists or whatever, sometimes get a bad rap, but they perform a very valuable role in providing information so that one can sort out the fact from the fiction in some of these issues, and that's really what we need somebody on the ground down there to help us do. Deanna?
We get, during the session, a paragraph or two from Teresa about what she's been doing, but do we get any kind of a timeline or any kind of, I spent 2 hours a day talking to so-and-so, or I appeared before this committee and it took so many hours? Do we get any of that kind of information? I mean, I haven't seen it as a board member, but...
No, we do not get a detailed invoice about how she's spending her time, how many hours are on certain legislation. She calls me and we chat about that, but she does not, in her invoice, lay that out in that detail.
My experience with other private clients hiring these consultants is that's not typically the way they do this kind of work. They usually do it on a sort of a flat fee basis for the session. I think we could probably get her to, provide us a little more detail if necessary, but I don't have any inclination to think that she's not spending a lot of hours each session.
We might ask her just to, instead of breaking it down by the tenth of an hour that she's talked, is just say, testified here, met with this legislator there, just the meetings just kind of on a weekly basis as to who she's had an audience with and what's she doing on our behalf.
Yeah, I don't think that's unreasonable. We could get a summary report.
Sure.
A summary timesheet.
Yeah. Other questions or comments? What's the pleasure of the board?
Well,
Brad?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we renew the Molitor contract.
Moved. Is there a second?
Second?
Discussion.
For 1 year.
Don't everybody speak up at once.
Yeah, I think I would second what Scott's saying. I think we need to work towards that joint group just to get a little more presence down in the Capitol. But we have to have a voice down there. So I definitely support renewing it for a year.
This last year, it was, from what I sensed and what I was reading in her weekly recap or summaries, Deanna, it was a less intense, at least as far as the recaps and the energies that were going on than maybe the previous year or two. But that doesn't, in my mind, mean that there wasn't obviously a lot of energy being put on our behalf. So I think a lot of it has to do with, how much we know is going on or we view that's in the media presently and the energy that's being put out and it dictates the direction of the moment that the various lobbyists are working on behalf of their clients. So I sense this last year, since some of the urban renewal legislation didn't get out of committee, that her visibility of what she was doing probably wasn't in the front headlines, you might say, but she still was working on it. And I think it is important that we, on behalf of the taxpayers up here, do get a good feel for what she is doing, as far as this summary. So I think that's an important part of it, rather than assume that's going on. Obviously, she's effective. She knows her way around. She's kind of a behind-the-scenes lobbyist. She's not a real front-page headlines kind of a lobbyist person, but I think she performs a very vital function for the interest of presenting the real story in a lot of cases. So I think that's a very important function. Otherwise, probably sound decisions aren't really made if, in fact, person doesn't have both sides of the story. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, there were, I think there's something like a third of the legislature turned over in the prior election, so there were a lot of new faces there. So I'm expecting that
And new
she spent
leadership,
a lot of
yeah.
time. Leadership changed in the House in particular, a little bit in the Senate, and so I'm sure she spent a fair amount of time kind of explaining to members, how urban renewal and tax increment financing works. So.
And delivering our newsletter to all of them.
We've tried to expand our communication strategy to that group as well. So, no, I certainly don't disagree with the comments that have been made. I'd really dearly love to see us get to the point where we could do it through the RAI, and we just need to keep working in that direction.
Was there any additions to my motion?
No, but I will ask Teresa to give us a more detailed invoice.
Okay, good enough.
So, moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Yes.
One no. Motion carries.
The final item I have, Mr. Chairman, is just the conversation around the vacant LCDC board commissioner position we have right now with the passing of our good friend Jim Elder. Since Jim was reappointed here recently, it falls to the board to solicit a replacement for a new board member for Jim's seat. And as you recall, we've been through this one time when Mr. Nip resigned. He had some time left on his term, and we were very fortunate to have quite a few good candidates apply. And one great candidate surfaced with the selection of Justin to fill Mr. Nip's position, and since then, Justin was reappointed by mayor and city council to a full 5-year term. So what we would need to do is, once again, go through that process, if you're willing, is to solicit interest in the existing board seat. We would use the same, I would propose we use the same process that we did before with my releasing a media release, sharing that we do have a position opening and asking people who are interested to supply a resume and a letter of interest to the board as to why they might want to join our wonderful organization. And as we did last time, several of you fine commissioners volunteered to be on the screening commission or committee, ad hoc committee, to review the applicant as submitted. So if you would still prefer that process, we can go ahead and kick that off. And I would look for maybe some volunteers to serve on that ad hoc candidate review committee.
Does your press release kind of lay out the requirements?
I mean, the 2 hours a month requirement, Dave?
That's the summary requirement.
It does not. I can read it to you. It's very brief. It basically says the LCDC Board of Commissioners is accepting applications from individuals interested in becoming an LCDC board member. LCDC currently has one vacant board member position open with a term of said position expiring in May of 2017. Possible reappointment to this position will follow the mayor, city council recommendation and approval process. Individuals interested in the vacant position, please send a letter of interest and a resume to LCDC by a certain time. That's all it says.
Yeah, I guess I was asking, the thing that immediately flies to people's mind is, do I have to be a resident of the city of Coeur d'Alene to apply for that position? That kind of thing. I think the answer to that is no.
I can modify that.
I jest about the time, but it is important also for people to know that it is a significant commitment of time and energy to this board. Everybody has a working role. So maybe we rework that announcement a little bit and make it look a little bit more like, a regular job announcement, but
We don't want to scare people away, Mr. Chairman.
No, it's true, but we need to be, again, transparent about the commitment. And I think we'll still have good candidates surface. It's different in this case a little bit in that we have a recently reappointed person vacancy, so we have a longer period of time that the board's vacancy filling will result in. There won't be an immediate city council reappointment.
What kind of time frame are you given? Based on the responses, 30 days? Take a look at how many applicants we have, then screen them, and then make a recommendation
That's
bring it
what,
before
I wanted to
this
kind of get your feedback
September.
on when, I was thinking that we would look to have maybe a recommendation to the board by the August board meeting for a candidate. That would be a couple months, if that would be okay with you all.
I think that works.
Sure. I'd like to get them seated, I don't know if we need to do it as no later than our October 1st new fiscal year, or if we want to do it this September, because the recommendation, obviously, council has to, no, we make
Council
the
does not.
decision, that's correct, yeah.
And just to
on this one.
clarify for the public, that is a change in the urban renewal statute that occurred 3 years ago, I think, at this point, or two or 3 years ago, not advocated by by the association or us in particular. It just came about as a result of some of the other changes, for whatever reason. It was changed that vacancies are filled by the board instead of the council. So that's the way it is now.
For the remainder of the term.
Yes.
Right, sorry, yeah.
Yes,
So we'll be making that decision. Okay.
correct. So I think it is doable to seat a person by September or October.
Okay.
Need a
So,
motion?
I would just need, no motion needed, just a couple volunteers. That Scott, Al,
Just pick the
maybe one
committee you
more.
had last
Justin?
time.
Did I see Justin's hand go up?
Yes,
Okay.
Fresh meat.
Those three folks, Scott, Al, and Justin, well, I'll seat as an ad hoc committee, and I'll work with you on getting this process going, and we'll look to have a recommendation for the board by August, hopefully maybe
Hopefully
September.
by August,
Yeah.
yeah. Excellent.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Tony. Any other questions of Tony on his report?
I have one quick one. Tony,
Dave?
did you want to discuss at this point in time the kind of the jobs committees or subcommittees meeting with the KMC folks? Kind of give them an idea of what we've done? Okay.
Would you like to do that?
No, go ahead,
Mr.
sir.
Okay.
I don't want you to break your string here.
All right.
You're in the
Strength
groove.
can be broken at any time, believe me.
Keep it straight.
We're going to talk about this. Yes, the Jobs Ad Hoc Committee has been busy. I can't remember the last time we maybe updated the entire board, but the committee has met with Steve Griffiths of Jobs Plus, kicking around ideas about how we might be get more involved in helping create jobs and retain jobs in the community. And one of the kind of topics or themes that generated from that conversation was maybe Lcdc could have a role more in maybe the healthcare kind of economic engine in our community, kind of maybe working with the institutions, NIC, Lewis and Clark State College, University of Idaho, on the type of talent that they supply to the healthcare community in Coeur d'Alene, basically Kootenai Health and its affiliates. So we took that, and our next step was that we met with a leadership team at Kootenai Health that was orchestrated by Mr. Hoskins up there. We met, I can't remember the two vice presidents' name, but we met with John Ness.
CEO John Ness and
And,
Jeremy Evans, the VP of Operations, and then John Finn, the Director for Facilities.
It was a very good session, a lot of energy about the economic engine of Kootenai Health in our community, and is quite impressive. They were very supportive of us continuing to kick the ideas around about what role we might be able to play in working in the community on jobs, specifically in the medical community, that we might be able to help within our realm of being able to help with the institutions on the higher education campus. So we're going to continue to pursue that. The next step is to kind of visit with the leadership of the three institutions, U of I, North Idaho College, and Lewis Clark State College, to see how all that might look, and just continue the dialogue. And that's my next step, is to set up those visits. Did I miss anything? Team? And the team is Scott, Denny, and Dave, by the way, that have been working this.
I think that's a good report. Yeah, I would note, it was apparent that the hospital facilities, by and large, are outside the districts, so we're not in a position to help with their infrastructure needs, at least there, but they might have some needs for educational space, for instance, that might be done in concert with our higher ed institutions. So we're working that trap line a little bit, encouraging some conversation along those lines. See what might develop. Anything else on that? front. Good question, Dave. Okay, with, if no more questions of Tony, it's board commissioner comments time.
Well, I was going to talk about that, but Dave stole it.
Sorry, Scott.
Anyone else?
Hey, give me that.
Board commissioner comments? Okay. How about public comment? Anyone in the audience at this point that wants to give us some insights? Okay. Well, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. We are adjourned.